the most important skill for kids to know that's maybe not taught in school is resilience. The ability to recover after something happens, it's something that they'll need throughout their life, whether it's recovering from a bad grade in school, or when you're older, something happens to your car or family member, the ability to come back from that and really be resilient and continue on with whatever your goals are in life. The story that comes to me was in college. I was always a really good student, and then I was put in this class called thermodynamics, and I got a 40 on the test, and I was devastated. I thought, oh, I'm a senior, I'm going to be on academic probation, which was a big deal. Maybe I won't graduate, but it turned out that that 40 was the highest grade in the class on the test. So it ended up being fine, and really being able to recover from that, and then help pursue my engineering career. But then I think it's also important, a lot of kids got into engineering, and then I think about half the class failed the first calculus test, and that to them was a really big deal. They ended up changing majors, but I decided, no, I'm going to stick with it. I'll be resilient, I'll try. And then the next test I got an 80, so I ended up getting a B or C in the class, and that I'm really glad I stuck with it and was resilient. But also just later on in life, being able to recover from situations or dealing with people and trying to be resilient with that has really helped my career, my mindset, family, everything. Oh yeah, so I was in Arizona. We'd been there for 2 years. Joe had a job there, but then he was sent to Honduras for a year during COVID. So we thought he would come back during like the March time frame for a month of vacation, but then that's when COVID broke out exactly in March. So getting through the last couple months of dissertation and trying to get our passports to go to Korea, that was a difficult time, but definitely keeping in mind the long game that, hey, in a couple months we'll be in Korea, so I'm going to try my best and let's be resilient and get there together. The kids were so very young, they don't really remember it, but I had to take them out of all their different activities and play groups that we did, so they did miss their friends. They'd cry about their friends, even though they were very young, so that was hard to see. But they were quite resilient. We got into another daycare for just first responders and military, and they made new friends, and the staff did a great job taking care of them. So yeah, that was really difficult. So we didn't know whether we would be able to make it to Korea together or not. So I was packing up the house, finishing dissertation, and then sending our passport paperwork to Joe, which was stuck in the mail because they weren't taking mail in Honduras. So that was it was a difficult time, but just trying to think, hey, this is only short term. This is only for the now. We're gonna make it. We'll get there eventually. So using the patience and resilience, we'll make it. It's just maybe not how we want to do it, but we'll get there.
So I think the most important lesson for young people to learn that may or may not be necessarily taught in school is how to relate and connect to others. So part of it's a self-awareness piece to understand that other people aren't going to come from the same place that you are. So first, to understand that not everyone's going to be like you. They're going to have different cultural beliefs, different values, and then to meet them where they are, and then to just be able to connect with them and not just put up walls or project your values onto somebody else. Leading by, or giving the example, trying to show that in your day-to-day life with people that you interact with, and your kids, they see that. And if they ask you, questions, which kids love to ask questions, they're very inquisitive, and just answering that honestly, and not whenever they ask you a question about another person, like just show that you're not judging that person for who they are. So like when I was at basic training, so you have 49,000 of America's sons and daughters going through this pipeline to go from being a civilian to being a member of the military. And a lot of kids didn't have like that, the stereotypical like Leave It to Beaver Cleaver, kind of background. And so you just see how like every airman or every person, has a story. Quite a few times, we would have these airmen that, or these kids that they were homeless. They were living on the street, went to a recruiter, and then they would show up to basic training, and basically it wouldn't just be like, hey, I packed a suitcase. It would, literally be their worldly possessions were, they would fit on a bunk bed. And it's like, wow, that's definitely not like the situation that I grew up in. And so you just start to realize everyone has their own unique background.